Hello, and welcome back to Compliance in an Hour. I'm your host, Ryan Carpenter at Third Coast IT. We started our journey just doing an overview of our compliance and the steps to get there. And last time we went over the employee baseline vulnerability assessment. And today we are going to start to talk about policies. So there are 10 core policies, and there are also accompanying procedures, which we'll get into the next video. But let's dive right in here and take a look at a few policies together. So our first policy is security policy number 1, a written information security policy. So this is a control document, and it references quite a few of the different 10 policies within this policy. But the intention here is to create a framework of organization for our compliance. So we do need to deem a security officer in this document, and that is going to be somebody that's going to be driving compliance for the business. So you do put your name in here, and the purpose of the written information security plan is to ensure the security and confidentiality of PII, personally identifiable information. And we want to protect against any reasonable anticipated threats or hazards. And we want to protect against unauthorized access. And so these are our goals. And the accompanying procedures are going to help us actually do that. So there's very little to do in terms of policies other than just understand them, because those are your goals. But the procedures are actually documents explaining how you're going to get to those goals. So as we move on, we see the scope of policy, and again, looking ahead, seeing if we can make sure that we stay safe, and we evaluate the existing policies and procedures, which is why we do this before our risk assessment. Designed and implemented a plan that puts safeguards in place to minimize identified risks, and implemented regular monitoring of the effectiveness of those safeguards. So there is no end to compliance. It is a journey. Our security safeguards, you're going to notice we are deeming a security officer. That person's name does go here, and they are responsible for these compliance efforts. For security management, all security measures will be reviewed on a regular basis. We only want to collect the data that we actually need to collect. So we don't need additional information. We mitigate our risk just simply by not gathering that. Or if we do have it, getting rid of it. Information access, understanding who actually has access to the information, making sure that we're doing proper offboardings when staff members leave, having regular security awareness training, making sure that everybody gets a copy of what we're talking about here, and we're going to do our best to help everyone understand what these policies are asking of us. We do want to do contingency planning, where we think about what ifs, and that leads to a lot of tabletop exercises that are very healthy. We have security incident procedures. What happens if there is a breach, and what are the proper steps to take if that happens. Having that stuff organized ahead of time makes everything so much easier. Emergency operations, yes, again, getting organized ahead of time. And that is very helpful. Just even having a list of basic phone numbers together for the local police station, or the electric company, or the accountant, or the lawyer, or the internet provider. Being organized up front is really helps a lot of situations go much smoother. Data sensitivity classification, that is in terms of the sensitive nature of the information. And so we want to understand what is high and low in terms of how sensitive the information is. Third party providers. This is a big one where we talk about your vendors. Sanctions is what happens if somebody does not follow the rules of acceptable use in terms of the computer policy. We do have some bring your own device, and those are good rules for people to look at as they're coming through using their devices from home. We have our physical safeguards, which is the locks on the doors and the windows. We have our network security, which is a lot of the things that the IT vendor takes care of. Access control, 2FA, complex passwords, computer use. We do need an acceptable use policy, so people understand that business computers are for business use only. Data disposal, don't have old stuff hanging around. That is just a breach waiting to happen for no reason. System activity review, to be able to look back and see who accessed what and when, is an important thing to be able to do. And encryption, whether it be at rest or in motion. And that brings us to our end of our document. So we thank you for joining us for policy number 1 here at Third Coast IT. We hope that you're going to be back for another episode, and thank you very much for joining us.